All right, we are live. It is another week of Chiropractic is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. And I was in the practice this morning and I was like, man, I had to take notes of how much stuff. I mean, they're just like random scribble notes, but I was like, there's a lot to share this week.
Let's do it. I know we have lots of stories. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I love where, if you're just looking at the title of this show, Mammograms and Colonoscopies, what will you do if you find what you're looking for? Remember that question as we start to dive into today's episode, because it's really, really important. I don't think people really think of this in that way. If you get a positive test, what does that mean? But we're going to unravel a little bit more of our principles and then talk about, like, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, so, it's actually, this is actually principle number 30. So just to kind of always backtrack. Actually, I wanted to even talk about a little bit about where our name came from too. So I think we forget to kind of review that on a regular basis. I was talking with a patient who happens to be a chiropractor as well today, came in and got adjusted, and we exchanged adjustments, and we started chatting, and I said, well, I'm so sorry I missed you a couple of weeks ago. And because she walked in at 12:59, and I could see her name pop up on the list. And I'm like, if I had 12:55, that's a different story. But 12:59, like, we are, Dr. Paula and I are so super committed to being here with you every week for you, for us, for the health of our communities, and for the health of everybody who's out there watching, learning, and finding this. So she said, do you do that every week? And I said, yes, every week for almost a year. I'm not sure when we started, but almost a year. And it's super important for us and our community. And the things that people have brought up to me from it are really fascinating. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Sorry, I doubled up on you there. Yeah, and we started to think about, how do we name this show? And it's like, when you're under chiropractic care and you move better, you feel better, you think better, you perform in life better, you relate to the world around you better, you sit up taller, you shine. And we just thought, there's nothing sexier than a healthy, human, vibrant body that is moving through life happy and with full vitality. So what's sexier than that? And that's why chiropractic is sexy.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I had a patient in yesterday morning, and her husband he started just under laser so far, but he'll progress towards that. But so he's had extreme foot pain for the last 6 to 9 months that has gotten him to this place where he's tried everything. And so I had said something a couple of weeks ago after my long run that, I dealt with crippling plantar fasciitis and blah, 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 which is why I brought the laser in. And I put in there, reach out to me if you have any questions about that. And so she said, so he's been in for 3 treatments, and I know he'll be under chiropractic care as well. But she said, because his pain is improving so much, he's in such a better mood. And as a spouse to somebody in regular pain and discomfort, like, when a spouse comes to me behind the scenes and just says, his mood's better, they're going to travel this weekend, and she's like, it's only been 3 visits. Today was number 4. She's like, it's only been 3 visits. You said it's probably going to be more like 6 or 7, but we're already doing stuff. And I'm like, good, it is. And imagine the ripple effects out into their relationship. So they own a business together. They're together all the time. He was a technician in the business initially, and now he is the owner. And they've been just, like, the ripple effects out into their employees, to their business partners, to their customers, to all the things. It's just huge ripple effects.
It does. It makes a massive difference. And that's really our purpose is, if we create a happier, healthy world around us, it's kind of selfish, isn't it? because we just want everybody around us to be happy and healthy, So our mission is somewhat selfish because we want a happy, healthy world around us. Somebody asked us, one of our colleagues said, next Wednesday is the birthday of chiropractic, and it's also my birthday, so sort of meant to be my calling. And so she had asked, what do you all do for the birth of chiropractic? And, how do you celebrate the birth of chiropractic? And so I have been collecting, I did this last year too, I've been collecting short little videos, anywhere from 15 seconds to 45 seconds from my patients, just a quick snippet of what they've experienced here and how it's changed their lives. And so I now have, I think I have 20 videos over this past week with regards to just different patients who wanted to share their story, even people who were very shy to share their story, but reluctantly shared it anyway. And then I'm going to string it all together. And can you imagine the impact of seeing a full video of just patient after patient after patient talking about how chiropractic care has impacted, saved their lives, given them life back, vitality. My little young 25-year-old patient today went through a windshield when she was 16 years old and has struggled with headaches and neck pain and TMJ for years. And she's out of pain. Like, she's fine. Like, her jaw is better again. And she said, I had no idea that this could be so amazing. So,
well, the part of that too is like, okay, so that happened at 16 years old. That woman is going to have 60, 70, 80 more years on the planet with, that, or without.
Life changing. So
I think we should do next week. We should dedicate it to our chiropractic's birthday.
Okay. That sounds great. We got to do that. And so we'll talk about the origin story. I think that's important.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So stay tuned next week, because you all will hear how chiropractic got started. That's a really cool story. We're going to tell you what the inspiration was, and you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you hit the notification and you are subscribing, and you share this with a friend. Like, bring a friend. Don't just phone a friend, but bring the friend to the broadcast.
That's
next Thursday.
So number 30, we're on 30 of 33, but that doesn't mean that we stop, because I have more notes to follow. You can never see, I got more notes there. And Dr. Paula pulled out some awesome philosophy reference books. And I have a bunch here. I have some research at home. I bought one of the philosophy research books itself. So I'm curious about that. But number 30, and we could just start all over again. I mean, this is just going to be on repeat because it applies and there's always new stories. So number 30 is the causes of dis-ease, which goes perfectly with what you were talking about with screenings. Just mentioning that one of my mentors had mentioned that, and I forwarded it onto Dr. Paula so we could chat about it this week, because he had an incredible insight and angle to take with the screenings. But the causes of dis-ease. So dis-ease, which if that hangs out long enough, it becomes the one word disease, which a lot of people are familiar with. But the dis-ease is lack of ease. So interference with transmissions of innate forces causes incoordination of dis-ease. So that's kind of where we're starting at today. And like I said, I have a ton of notes here, but I'm just going to let you kind of take over the disease processes inside of the body that people go out and screen for. We're not poo-pooing that idea at all. You guys do whatever you feel like you need to do. But the question remains, when you find out what you're finding and doing, then what do you do? So I'm going to just kind of pass it over to you.
And this is what I love that you sent me that, because I was explaining to Dr. Erica that when I talk to my patients about getting these, I'm going to air quote them, screenings. And again, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do annual checkups or, screenings or anything like that. But what it does mean is that is not the holy grail of health. So the mainstream medical will say, get your screenings for good health. They call that prevention. You guys, that's not prevention. It's squishing your boob and shoving a tube up your ass for however many times that they need to do that, whatever, once a year, once every 5 years, and telling you you're fine, go along your way with your crappy bad habits and come back in 5 years. All they're doing is saying, you don't have cancer today, go away, we'll see you again in 5 years, and we'll let you know if you have cancer then. That's all that is. So really recognize that screenings can be a valuable part of your health care journey, your wellness journey. But if you aren't doing anything on the in between, then you're just sort of holding your breath, waiting for them to give you the information you're wanting to find out. So what will you do if you go to one of those tests and the answer is yes, you have cancer? What will you do? Are you prepared for that? So thinking about it from that frame of reference is, what does that test mean for you? Because again, it's like you're coming out of there with one of two answers. You do have cancer or you don't have cancer. If you're relieved that you don't have cancer, what are you going to do about it from today forward? If you were to go in there and they told you you do have cancer, like, think about that. Are you prepared today, even before that test, to step into your health and take the steps necessary to make sure that you don't get that answer?
Right.
So think about that.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times, I mean, we don't go around in our world and we don't catch these things. Like, we don't catch cancer, we grow it. And one of the other really powerful lines from Dr. Bart was, if the body can make it, the body can take it. Just meaning, like, if it can make it, it can also take it away. It can also heal from that. And so what I really took from that particular, like, seed of an idea was that if it can make it, it can take it. So what can we do? And this is why Dr. Paul and I are here every week. What can we do on a regular basis to be sure that the body is using all that it can every single day? 80%, not 100%. Nobody's 100%. I can tell you, if you did get one of those diagnoses, you would probably go to 100% full blast in taking care of your health. So let's do that ahead of time. What little tiny thing can you do today, little or big? What thing can you add to your life? What thing can you take out from your life? What toxic thing can you remove? What beneficial or nourishing thing can you add? Eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, and get adjusted. What are you doing along those lines? What, if you did get that diagnosis, what would you do in addition to what you're doing right now? What would you level up? What would you 10x? What would you remove? Like, those kinds of things, like thinking about that on the daily, rather than waiting for a health tragedy or just a health trauma or an emotional something that comes along with that finally gets you to take action on your health. We talk ad nauseum lately about the body's will to get to tomorrow is huge. And if it has to rob this other system in order to support this system, it's going to do whatever it needs to do. It's going to do whatever it takes to get to tomorrow. How can we make sure that we're maximizing that?
Yeah, and I loved the answer. So this doctor that brought up this question was talking about, he was having this conversation with a colleague of his who also happened to be a doctor. And he said that his colleague said, I will do everything in my power, and I'm paraphrasing, to not become part of the system. I want to stay out of the system. So the whole, what would you do if you got the answer of, okay, you now have cancer? The fear, first of all, the fear that would be instilled in you would probably take you into the system. Chemo, radiation, surgery, the whole gamut. And this isn't a conversation with regards to like any of that's bad, but that is the system of cancer. And Dr. Eric and I know well enough to know that we live in a crazy, toxic world.
Mhm.
And everything that she just mentioned, those are all things that can reduce your risk. You reduce your risk of toxicity, whether mentally or physically, and you have the ability to then make sure that the answers to those tests or questions are no, they're not. They're negative. They're not. So let's keep you in that lane of doing all the right things. And we're not here also to tell you need to be perfect. We just want you to try to live at least 90% of your life
Yeah.
with good, healthy habits.
So a couple things that come up. The last patient that was on my table, she returned to care. So she had a babe, and then I don't know what she's been doing. She's been just momming the heck out of life, right? And so the school year is such an awesome time. And I do want to just kind of mention September. September is, instead of January, where we have no momentum, we have cold months, we have all of that. September, we have so much momentum moving forward. I listened to this incredible podcast the other day where it was like, September can be our January, where we start to say, instead of saying, I have this whole new year to do a new thing, when all we did was go to sleep and wake up the next day. You know what I mean? Now we have all this summer momentum. We have all the sunshine momentum. We have the season of life and blooming and all of that. Like, we have all of that working in our favor. And I love September for that. I didn't realize it until I put words on it, how amazing it is and how much more power we have here because of the momentum than we do in January, when we're sluggish and we just got through the holidays. But this patient, after returning to care, she said to me today, she's like, I didn't really do anything, but and people say that a lot, but it's also like, she has a new baby, a 23 or 4 pound baby in a car seat, wasn't with her today, but has been with her. I'm like, it's those micro traumas. And I'm like, how hydrated are you? She said, thank you so much for saying that. She said, I don't know why you had to mention water to me, for me to realize and turn around and say, I used to drink a gallon of water a day and I felt amazing. And she said, thank you so much for bringing it up again. And I said, I talk about it ad nauseum, how much water we need. And of course, I have a mason jar of clean, fresh water right here, always. I know. And she's like, thank you so much. And then this other patient this morning, she said, when I am not sleeping, when I am finding myself tossing and turning at night, she said, I know that I need to see a chiropractor. And she said, that is always my key indication that I haven't been adjusted frequently enough if I'm up tossing and turning at night. And those two things, the water and the sleep, which are part of our 6 that we bring up every week, is like, yes, those two things are critical and rather simple, and a way to shift in such a great direction. So,
and creating the awareness. I think I had that conversation with a patient this morning about the awareness of where they're at. So being aware that you need to be adjusted before you go into crisis, being able to make micro adjustments with your health, and knowing that you need to get to the chiropractor because you're feeling a little out of sorts, versus having to crawl in here, having some, catastrophic crisis. Along the water lines, I had a patient in the other day that I hadn't seen in a few months. And she came in, and I looked at her, and she was skinny. So you may know where I'm going with this. And I said, wow. I said, you've lost some weight. What are you doing? And she looked at me and she goes, Ozempic. And I said, okay. This is also the patient that I've referenced many times before that could never understand why she couldn't lose weight, because she was having chicken Alfredo, and couldn't understand why she couldn't eat chicken Alfredo for dinner and then take it for lunch to work the next day. And then also was eating Jimmy Dean frozen breakfast sandwiches every morning, and was like, but those are healthy. They have eggs in them. And I'm like, oh my God. From the simplest perspective, and I don't fault her, because there's so much confusion around food and nutrition, and people literally just don't know the simplest things. Again, this is why we're here, to bring light to it. So in no way am I making fun of her. Like, I'm like, this is an epidemic that people don't have basic understanding of nutrition. So she looked at me and she said, and I've changed all of my habits. She said, she goes, now I'm not where you would want me to be. And I was like, didn't really know what that meant, but I just kind of let her go. And she said, and I'm changing my lifestyle because I refuse to go back there. She lost like 45 pounds. She didn't really look that heavy. She's too skinny now. I'm just going to say that. But this is what we know when people go on these weight loss drugs is they get down to like, freaking, just ultra, almost anorexic levels, becomes this real body dysmorphia issue. So she said, I'm not where you would want me to be. So I started to adjust her and I said, oh no, she said, I'm never going back there. I'm not going back there. So that when I go off of this drug, I'm going to be able to have my good, healthy lifestyle habits and not gain that weight back. And in my head, listen, you guys, you lose so much muscle mass when you go on those medications. You have no choice. The second you go off, the weight will rebound with a vengeance. So she has no choice. She's going to gain the weight back. She may not gain all of it back, but she's going to gain the weight back. So that's first and foremost. I did not say that to her. But then as I'm adjusting her, I said, so how much water are you drinking? Now, this is also a patient who only poops 1 to 2 times a week. I've had this conversation with her multiple times. If you are toxic and you are not eliminating your waste 1 to 2 times a day, 3 to 4 is a bonus, you have a problem. Your body is broken. So you can lose the weight, but it's like putting a piece of electrical tape over your check engine light. You're never going to get to the root cause. So I said, how much water are you drinking? And she goes, oh, not enough. And I go, okay. And then I said something. I said, so how many bowel movements have your bowel movements improved? Well, no, I'm still only going 1 to 2 times a week. And I go, okay. And this is where Dr. Eric and I are, she says, I'm not a baker. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. And we do have relationships with our patients that we can have these very frank conversations. And I said, you just said to me that you're not doing everything that I would want you to do. And yet you are missing 2 of the most basic pillars. Mm-hmm. Drinking water and staying hydrated is the cheapest, easiest thing that you can be doing. And you're not doing that. I'm not asking you to do anything crazy, but hydrate. And she was like, yeah, I know. And I go, and you didn't fix your gut. Like you have to be having 2 bowel movements a day for your body to eliminate the toxins that are being held in your fat cells. That's why you can't lose weight. And I said, so until you do those things, there's no amount of this drug that is going to save you from being overweight. So, and then she kind of just, sort of shook her head a little bit. Like she didn't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you guys, nothing takes the place of core principles for health and wellness. And water is the number one easiest, cheapest thing that you could be doing.
Yeah. I mean, so, okay, let's go back to pooping, because if you are not eliminating, like Dr. Paula said, what happens is it sits inside of your intestines and so your body did this whole thing. This is toxins. We're getting this out. We're going to make it into this particular material and exit the body. If it sits there, it reabsorbs, the toxins reabsorb. So we have not necessarily talked about pooping before.
We need a whole episode on pooping.
We need many episodes on that, because that is the very first thing that needs to be repaired to do any kind of healing whatsoever. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up. And I just am in constant consumption of podcasts. There was one podcast talking about, like, if that particular patient took that particular medication and really did change their lifestyle, really did start to fill their bodies with nourishing foods, lots of greens, good healthy proteins, nice healthy fats, lots of water, got out there, got on the trails, got, a regular workout program going, started to build muscle and all of that, and took that only as a bridge to a different mindset pattern, that would maybe be a beneficial thing for people to do that have been stuck in decades of weight loss rut, decades, right? So if that created a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or maybe a month bridge to the mindset shift, along with coaching, health coaching, functional medicine, chiropractic, and got your mindset shift, I think there is a little bit of a beneficial situation there, but not this long-term thing where these people become half the people that they ever were before. The rebound of that is so dangerous. And the endocrinology, the endocrine system, your hormones, and all the things that play into health and wellness and us getting around in a day have all been altered because of that. And maybe forever. And maybe forever. And that's not safe. It's just, there are no shortcuts. You talked about the natural laws of the body. If there was an actual shortcut anywhere when it comes to health and wellness, that would be the way. Like, there wouldn't be a shortcut out there that all of us didn't know about. It would be the actual way of getting to something. If there was a shortcut, I could drink one of these in glass, poured before 9 a.m., would somehow magically equal 6 of them by the end of the day without actually consuming it. Like, that would be the way, right? It doesn't work like that. It won't ever work like that, ever. And all the body's doing is compensating one spot for another. Its will to live to tomorrow is huge. And it's going to keep doing that until we have severe dis-ease and then disease. And that's a really crappy place to be.
Yeah. And these toxins create more dis-ease.
Right.
Which is, so we go back to not pooping. If you have digestive issues and you're not eliminating those toxins, again, it's for a purpose. Like, we have got to eliminate for a purpose, because the next day and the next day, we just get greater and greater exposure. The toxic load that's created in the body when it can't safely eliminate the toxins, those toxins get stored in fat tissue, which is long-term storage. Because it's safely, your liver's not functioning properly, your gut's not functioning properly. Maybe you're not exercising the way you should be. And of course, she's not exercising either. So again, now she's missing a third major pillar of health and claiming that she's doing it all. So it's our job to really be real and not let people to lie to themselves with regards to this. So those toxins get stored in the fat tissue. And this is why most people have trouble losing weight, because you don't understand what's required to be able to safely detoxify the body. That's where working with Dr. Erica or myself is. You need somebody to help coach you, not doing any crazy fad diets that are going to, again, just screw up your metabolic state. So once we can start to detoxify the body, people actually will start to slowly lose fat. And especially in weight loss, we want you losing fat so you can get the toxins out, lose the fat, and that brings the inflammation down, which then decreases the dis-ease in the body. So metabolically, we're just trashing ourselves and then wanting that quick fix, right? Erica, I love that whole, like, where do I sign up for that plan where I can fill this jar and not even drink it, and it'll count for all my water for the day? By the way, this is my shake, my nutrition shake. Yes, and I love that, we're both drinking out of mason jars.
I know. Well, they're so nice to have around. I just like the size of them, because I also do storage at home with them. So take like nuts and put them in there, or whatever, that kind of stuff. It looks way nicer in the cupboards too. Anyway, there's no magic. There's never going to be magic. A lot of times, and we've talked a lot about this, is that we're not respecting our bodies until we're on our deathbeds. And it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not a way to live. It's not a way to give to life. One of the I had a patient in this morning, and she's 68, and I just love her. She's been in my practice. I wouldn't even know when her first visit is. Actually, I could probably look it up here really quick if it's in here. But she's 68 years old, and she's always working out. So let's see. First visit was January 1st of 2010.
Wow.
So
Oh my gosh,
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be the first. It was probably right then. Only because the first I wouldn't have been open on New Year's Day, right? Yeah. So I'm curious where that came from.
I was going to say, you were anxious to get that year started.
Yeah, no, something happened that year. But anyway, she's been in since 2010 or longer. And so she came in this morning, and she's really, really, really frustrated with her body. She is working out regularly. She's kept a really nice body weight throughout her whole, she used to be in the medical profession. She was an RN. But she said she started this Pilates class, and she's been at like these different gyms around, kind of like a boot camp gym for a while. She was at this other gym. She knows the principles of health, and she does her very best. But she was on my table this morning. She said, I started Pilates. It's a really awesome class. I'm like, where's Pilates offered around here? Because I tend to feel like I'm on an island up here in Fenton. But at our Southern Lakes Park and Rec, it's kind of like our community center downtown. They offer 6, 7, 8-week classes, of course, that kind of thing. So anyway, she's like, I started there. It's a nice small group. And she started crying, and she said, we were doing work on the ball, and I cannot get my body to do what everybody else is doing. And this is like her second or third class, maybe ever Pilates class at 68.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, girlfriend, congratulations. You're a freaking rock star for even starting and signing up for something that you've never done before. She says, I was the delinquent. What'd she say? I was the dunce in the back of the room that couldn't get anything to happen. And I said, listen, you were there. And I said, I realize it is so frustrating when our body is taking another year and putting it behind it. It's taking another year. We're stepping into another year. I get it. I am not 68. I have a couple decades until I get to that point. But I said, you were there, and everybody starts somewhere in the beginning. You start with class number 1. And just the fact that she decided, because her lumbar spine, we had an MRI done a couple weeks ago, and x-rays prior to that. And there's a lot of degeneration in there. And she's like, I don't even know where this came from. I'm like, life.
Right.
Life. Our bodies are designed to age. And that does include, depending on how you handle your lifestyle, degenerative processes. That's how it works. That is always going to be how it works. And so, but I'm like, so her lumbar spine has been an issue. She's got some numbness, and she said, I really don't want to go in for back surgery. I'm not in any pain. I'm like, put that off of your radar. Like, what are you, back surgery what are you talking about? So, but people go to like, so emergent, so scary. But the whole point of this is she started something new. And the fact that she's going to move her bodies in ways that it hasn't moved before, she's going to start building her core strength. She's going to start doing some of these things. She was in tears of frustration because she felt like the dunce in the back of the room. Her words, not mine.
Yeah.
And she freaking started something new.
Yeah.
Good for her. She's been moving. She's been at the gym. She's been doing all that stuff. Get out there and get off of your freaking phones and get out there.
I love that, because I think and Dr. Eric and I both consume podcasts rampantly. And I don't think either one of us always listens to the same podcast, thankfully, because she listens to certain things, I listen to certain things, and then I feel like we're able to really, divide and conquer. And this one podcast I was listening to yesterday, and they were talking about how we have such high expectations we become afraid to try new things because we're not going to be perfect at them. And we don't want to look like the dunce in the back of the room. We don't want to look like, silly because we don't know what we're doing. And yet, they were saying, if you really think about highly successful people, they're always showing you, hey, I'm going to try this new thing and I've never done it before. And I'm going to look like a complete moron, idiot, whatever, but let's see what happens. And that's why too, Eric and I have come on here with you guys and it's like, oh my God, we're having technical issues and it looks completely chaotic and we know what we're doing, yet things still go south. Mm-hmm. And so, I always want to make sure that you all are aware that it never has to be perfect. And I love that she stepped into something new, trying something new, staying disciplined about it, going, and over time she'll become so much better and she's going to laugh about where she's at right now. Right.
Yeah. There was another one. She's a mom. She used to be a teacher. She's a mom. She's got 3 kids. They're running around all over the place. She's like Uber mom, right? In the evenings, like everyone's in sports. I think her youngest is either kindergarten or first grade. And the oldest, I want to say, is probably 7th grade. And she's like, I'm just kind of lost. And she said, I went yesterday for the first time to CrossFit Light. And she said, I walk all the time with my friends. And she said, it just so happens that the class is at 10:30. And so we can walk, I can go to CrossFit Light. And she said, and now she's like, you find that community, like when you go place and you do something, you find a community that makes you want to go places and do things. And, if you can pick healthy habits around it all, it's so awesome. So she's probably mid-30s, maybe upper 30s, but I'm like, this is so great that you found that. And, and that you want to stay committed to something new.
Such great advice because that is finding that community is so important. And I was just talking about this in one of my videos. I think I was talking about it on Sunday because I was talking about going back to what you were saying about the fall and we're energized from summer. The change of seasons is always, any change of season is always a motivation for people. So kids are back to school. I'm back on schedule. It's time to take care of myself again. So any change of season, whether it's now or the first of the year, this does become more of a motivator. Because then also, as we start to move into the fall and get closer to that first of the year, people are like, I want to make sure that I got my health on track now so it doesn't go completely south by the first of the year. So that motivator of the change of seasons is critical. And one of the things that I talked about was having that community, especially as we move indoors, that finding a community that is inside. So whether maybe it's just a weekly euchre tournament, which is I then had to explain that euchre is a card game that those of us in Michigan absolutely love. But, maybe
they have no idea what it is.
Exactly. Right. Maybe it's pickleball. Maybe you're, doing shuffleboard or curling but finding a community, an indoor community, a club or something, or exercise. And because that can also be more motivating and inspiring if you have to take a class where you go see the same people and everybody's looking forward to connecting with you, you're looking forward to connecting with them. It definitely becomes more of a motivator and keeps your good habits going. Plus, one of the things we know about community is this is a pillar of longevity. It's in all the communities where they have centenarians, people who live to be over 100. It's a strong, tight-knit social community, family as well. So I love that she found that piece of it too.
Yeah, it gives me chills. I mean, I just got goosebumps. Just, it's never too late to get something started. Just anything. It's never too late. Trivia night doesn't count as indoor activities, does it? No. Mostly because usually if there's a trivia night, it's usually at a bar and there's usually alcohol involved. And we all know that that's not part of the health pillars. Drink your water. No, community though of it, because I know there's some diehard trivia people that love going because there is community there. So yeah, as long as you're making good decisions, maybe you walk there.
There you go.
Trivia night.
Yeah. So there you go.
Don't drink. So
but just don't eat anything with Miracle Whip, Kenny. Leave the Miracle Whip home.
Yeah. So the causes of disease. And then next week we'll come back with Dr. Paula's birthday and chiropractic's birthday to speak about that. 1895, September 18th. 1895 is kind of where it all started. And so principle number 30, the causes of disease: interference with the transmission of innate forces causes incoordination of dis-ease. So that's so great. So I won't even go into the next one, but it's subluxation, the principle of coordination, and the law of demand and supply are what's coming up.
Love it. So we'll leave you with this last thought. So just in thinking of dis-ease and in thinking of your preventative tests that you're doing, what are you doing in the in-between moments? Are you waiting for an answer? Are you waiting? What will happen if you find out what you're looking for? What are you willing to do? If the answer is yes, if you get the answer that you're looking for and that is some kind of dis-ease, what are you willing to do? And can you start doing that now and not wait for the catastrophic answer? So anyway, thank you guys so much for all your engagement. We'll look forward to seeing you next week when we discuss chiropractic's birthday and the inception story. You all are going to love it. So don't forget, bring a friend, like, share, subscribe, all the things. We are going to be eventually moving this to its own channel, and we'll let you know. But I just want to put the word out that we will be on our own channel called Chiropractic is Sexy on YouTube. So, but for next week, we'll be right here, but don't just keep that in mind. We got to let it brew for you guys. So, and yes, it is next week, Kenny. Next Wednesday is my birthday and chiropractic's birthday. So we'll be talking about chiropractic, the chiropractic origin story next Thursday. So
there we go.
All right, you guys. No, Wednesday, the 18th. Did I say the 17th? Wednesday, the 18th, September 18th. Wednesday.
But we'll be here Thursday the 19th.
We'll be here Thursday the 19th. There you go. Okay.
Love you guys.
All right, you guys. Love you guys so
Bye.
much. See you soon. Bye.